Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here from Cult Classics and Cult Following, and now we are going to explain to you, if you're confused, want to know what's going on, the ending to the Eternals. We're going to explain the ending to the Eternals, what's going on, but there are major spoilers in this explanation. So this is the warning right here. After the credits roll, we're gonna jump right into it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, stop now, watch another video. But if you've already watched the movie, it's Friday and you're like, I don't get what is going on, then this is the video for you, so stay tuned. Alright, so, Eternals. You just saw it. Maybe you really liked it, maybe you had some issues, so we're going to explain what's going on. So, most of the ending of Eternals spins from the mid-movie revelation that once Circe gets the ability to speak to Arshem, the great celestial, he info dumps on her the fact that the entire purpose of the Eternals they are 2.0 of the deviants who were actually created to help them sort of bring worlds to this point where a celestial seed is placed inside after enough people have populated and developed the world, that the world can explode into a new life, the new life of a new celestial. But the deviants evolved and could no longer be controlled, and they were actually exterminating life, which is counterproductive to a new celestial being created. So then the celestials created the Eternals to basically go to planets and help them develop so that they could develop and a celestial could burst out of them. And what we mean by created is the deviants are biomechanical. They're basically Bayformers, but they evolved. And the Celestials are actually like Westworld androids. They are robots. They are super advanced robots that are built in bulk and sent off to different planets. Once they're done with their mission, their minds are erased and they're purposed to a new mission. To basically, the Celestials are not that dissimilar from Galactus. In a certain way, they are there to consume planets, to create more Celestials. So if Galactus ever shows up, clearly the Eternals will probably be there to be the front line, and we'll probably see Silver Surfer show up in an Eternals movie before we see him in anything else, is what I'm thinking. But I honestly think this Celestials and Deviants being robots thing is really stupid, especially since they double down on the fact that Thanos is also a Eternal in this movie, which means Thanos was a robot, which I can't get into. Doesn't make sense on a lot of levels, so I'm just, yeah, they lost me there. I mean, I get it, but it's stupid in my mind. So what's going on here is Ajak knows this, Salma Hayek's character, very early on, and Icarus learns it. And then once Ajak tells Icarus that she is going to turn against the Celestials, Icarus, who at this point has been portrayed as Marvel Superman, goes and pulls an Image Omni-Man or a Amazon Homelander and becomes evil Superman, kills Ajak, and kind of sets events up here to get the Celestials back in line. They don't, so he becomes the bad guy of the film, except for Sprite, who goes along with him because she's been in love with him for thousands of years, even though she looks like a 12-year-old. So, you know, it's a Claudia Louis situation if you've read Interview with the Vampires. So the remaining Celestials kind of have to Watchmen this situation, you know, where they find out one of theirs is really a bad guy, and what are they going to do? So Phastos and Circe come up with this idea, basically of a Unimind, to boost Druig's mind control powers into controlling the birth of the Earth celestial Tiamat, maybe, you know, making it go to sleep. When the actual fight happens, Icarus proves a little much for them to handle, kind of basically taking Druig out of the fight right from the get-go. And then Circe, who's developed some transmogrification powers, well, she's had them, but they become really amped at this point in the movie, has to use her super transmogrification powers to turn Tiamat into marble. And it's explained, actually, info dumped, that as soon as Druig joins in on the Unimind, where all the Celestials become connected, that once Circe starts the Unimind, that Tiamat is somehow part of it, and Tiamat is so powerful that he's able to use his, you know, whatever presence to bring Sprite and Icarus in a line, because otherwise it doesn't make any damn sense why Sprite or Icarus would go along with this whole Unimind scenario. They, like, it seems like they specifically stuck that line in there because once they go along with it, it seems really fucking stupid. Not trying to be negative, I'm just saying that's how it comes off to me, the casual viewer and also fan of the comics. But yeah, all the surviving Eternals join in, use the Unimind, which is all their powers formed in one. Think of it as a psionic Captain Planet thing. And they turn Tiamat into a stillborn marble statue in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Doesn't make any sense why the Avengers or anybody else don't show up, considering this was causing worldwide earthquakes, which makes the stakes lower. But you know, at this point, the Eternals are kind of like, haha, you know, everything's hunky-dory. You know, mind you, Thena's still a broken fembot, you know, but, you know, Circe has enough power left that she can turn Sprite into a human being so she can age, which solves issues of her showing up and looking older in future movies, even though it means Thena's still broken, Gilgamesh is still dead, and a lot of other things she could use that power for rather than Sprite's vanity. But hey, that's just me. And then, you know, Circe and Dane are walking along when they, you know, Dane's like, oh, I have a tortured backstory, don't you know? But then what happens? Arishem calls off Circe and like, oh, you killed my brother, see? No, but basically it's like you taking it upon yourself to kill a Celestial, and then her and all the other remaining Celestials on Earth, which I think is half the team at this point, they kind of get taken away by the Celestials, while the other half of the team, including Phastos and company, is Phastos on the Domo? Well, either way, half the team ends up getting taking off to find other Eternals to tell them they're also secretly Westworld robots and bring them in line to rage against the Celestials. Now, mind you, this also raises issues to me. The bigger thing being that largely Crow and the Deviants are a non-entity in this movie. I mean, Crow is there just so Angelina Jolie can get a moment to shine, kind of ending him, you know, for killing Gilgamesh, and you know, before that he was basically framed for killing Ajak, which means up until the point where, you know, Gilgamesh is around, well, he's not framed, he's set up by Icarus. Largely, the Deviants should be on the same boat as the Celestials and as the Eternals and trying to end the Celestials. That's just me. So, yeah, the Deviants end up being kind of like an afterthought in this movie. That's probably why you needed that point explained. You never even hear Crow's name in this movie. The only way I know who Crow is because his action figure box says Crow, and the credits say Crow, but how would I know who that is? Because they sure don't tell you in the movie. Think about that for a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, also I think it's weird that they made the Deviants basically like werewolves from Excalibur. I'm sure that'll come into play if they want to do an Excalibur movie. But yeah, that's the basic gist. Half of the Eternals go off into space to find other Eternals. The rest are taken by Arishem. It's all set up for Eternals 2. Dane, tragic backstory is that he is part of a cursed bloodline that leads to a character called the Black Knight and his ebony blade, which is also cursed. If you're interested in knowing about that in the post-credits, there's another video that explains that. So, till next time, guys, that is the ending of Eternals. Explained, the Celestials, the Deviants, the characters in between. And Icarus flies off into the sun. Why does Icarus fly off into the sun? Because the Greek myth, Icarus flew too close to the sun. So it's all symbolism, because Icarus was too close to the Celestials' true purpose, but he fucked up, and the guilt made him fly too close to the sun to end himself in this movie, which is a whole thing about a whole metaphor about when someone flies too close to the sun, it means they're full of themselves and they try to do too much, and that will lead to their failure. And that's Icarus in a nutshell. And you can ask yourself if that's just trite or deep. It's up to you. That's the ending of Eternals. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.